What's up, metalheads? It's your main man, Eddie Monster here, and we have another special edition of Rock and Metal News Bite Size Edition. This story is one that has been playing out for quite some time, since last year, because there's one thing as a band you never want to do, and usually it's have a public meltdown in front of thousands of people who've paid big money to come see you live, especially when you're a band that is as legendary as your impact and you were back in the day in the 90s when you came out. The rise of the alternative scene. That I am talking about Jane's Addiction, who back on September 13th of last year in Boston, Massachusetts, had one of the biggest meltdowns of all involving Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro. If you don't remember what I'm talking about, now information has been released that Dave Navarro, Eric Avery, and Stephen Perkins are suing Perry Farrell for $10 million. That's right. In a statement released, the band could no longer function as a result of the defendant's conduct, including his sudden, violent outbursts, and demonstrated his inability to serve as the band's frontman and vocalist. The physical, emotional, and financial harms the defendant has wrought have deeply impacted the plaintiffs, their families, and their loved ones, and it is time for the defendant to face the consequences of his actions and be held accountable. Plaintiffs and others in attendance had observed during the tour that Perry regularly appeared on stage in an advanced state of intoxication. And that's according to the filing, as you can see right there. He would often drink wine on stage, slur his speech. Perry would frequently went on long, rambling discursions between songs for no apparent purpose, other than for his own amusement. The problems with Perry's performance would often worsen as the night wore on and he became more intoxicated. Now, their lawyer also had this to say. He said, Dave Navarro, Eric Avery, and Stephen Perkins had high hopes that they could capture the pure spirit of the band's early days and build on it. Initially, they did, in the studio and on stage, but they did so with a fourth bandmate who was by turns unwillingly or unable to perform to a reasonable standard and who repeatedly threatened to derail the tour. One of my big things is you never compromise the performance. That is number one. And for somebody that is of Perry Farrell's age, Perry Farrell, in my opinion, should have known better. You have a duty to go out there and perform some of the most amazing songs you guys created. You know what I mean? Such an amazing discography that the fans showed up to hear. And you couldn't keep it in check for a whole entire tour. It all came to a head and melted down in Boston, where right after it, the tour was canceled. Right? So things are unreconcilable. Obviously, I don't blame the three other members. They're like, you know what? We're done with this shit. We're good with Perry Farrell. We're good with whatever that whole ordeal is. And I don't know the full history of Jane's Addiction. I don't know why they started, ended, started back up again, ended, started back up again, and now ended. I don't know the full history, right? I know back in the day, a little bit of something of along the lines that they felt they had done everything they could, and that's why they initially called it quits. Why, Perry Perry Farrell moved on to do Porno for Pyros. Dave Navarro went on to join the Red Hot Chili Peppers, as we know, and so on and so forth. We know the history of these guys. It's just why they couldn't keep it together. Maybe it's always been there. We just didn't see it, you know what I mean, until now, until it came to blows, literally, right? So, my opinion, it is what it is. They'll have their day in court. This will all probably get settled out of court. As we know, that's usually how these things work. If you want more information, I will try to update all of you on what's going on with this case. Of course, you can check out some of my favorite sites like Metal Sucks, metalinjection.net, Loudwire. I'm sure all of these sites are also going to be reporting on this. But for now, just keep it cool. Keep it metal.